Yeah, but like that Thatcher attitude of there's no alternative. Capitalism is everything, and he won. And so young lads are looking at him, and they're like, well, the thing about this is where I've kind of landed, and I guess it's from learning a bit more about, I guess, capitalism and stuff, is like Jordan Peterson and all the self-help people, they exist in the framework of what people like refer to as like capitalist realism, which is like the belief that the way that our society, the dog-eat-dog sort of competitive, hyper-competitive world that we live in, the belief that is, they sell it like that is just fundamental human nature. And so obviously that's where I deeply disagree. But in the framework, in the world we live in, it is like that. We are incredibly dog-eat-dog, and life will not give you anything for free. It's like, it's tough. Within that world, self-help messages like pick yourself up by the bootstraps, no one's going to give a fuck about you, you need to become a man. It's true in that framework. Like literally, you do need to do those things. And so that message when you're young and like you haven't learned about all these structures and why it's like this, and actually there might be alternatives to this, within that premise, and a young person's looking at their life and like looking ahead and they're like, well, I can see what the average salary is, I can see how many years of uni I'm gonna have to do, I can see how expensive a house is. I have no fucking choice but to buy into that, that if I work really hard, I can make something of myself. And it's like, it's this sad thing of literally he is right within the framework of the world we're in currently. And obviously our argument is that framework is fucked and it shouldn't be like that.
I agree, by the way. The framework is fucked, and I really feel for the younger generations. What I struggle with a bit, or maybe not, but I want to ask you this question. Why is it mostly men and young men?
That's where I think it was manipulative. And so that's where I think when we were young guys, we didn't see why that could be considered a little bit like maybe misogynistic or something like that, just from the frame of women have the exact same thing. yeah. But I think when you're a young lad and he's telling you it's like, it's you, or it's like, you know, he's looking at he'll show certain data that might show, I don't know, women might get better education results, but then he maybe be a bit quiet about the data about, I don't know, when women start asking for more money, they're more likely to be penalised by asking for more money, when men are more likely to be rewarded for it. He'll be quiet about that side of data, and he'll be like, look, women are, you know, feminism's done a very good job so far, and actually now it seems like women are actually doing better, but it's like really misrepresenting the data. So because maybe as a young person, you're really like, you just focus on your life and what you're seeing, and you're seeing that you have it fucked, all your mates have it fucked, and then he's sort of manipulating some data to show that women actually have it a little bit better, then it's like, okay, yeah, maybe it is this sort of man thing.
Yeah. What is really interesting is side by side, the male experience perhaps getting worse because of the environment that we all live in the system. And I think that women outsource a lot of their therapy to their mates in a way, and I speak as a parent of a boy and a girl, that a lot of lads, not all, don't have that with their friendship circle.
Yeah, big time.
When they're hanging out, they're sitting next to each other watching sport.
Yeah.
And they're sort of communing.
There's a really good clip actually from Jane Fonda.
Yeah.
And she talks about how when women get together, they actually they look at each other, they face each other, they talk to
their
each other. And yet when men get together, they're you're looking away, you're looking at sport, you're looking at women, you're looking at, exactly.
Play games, play on the whatever it is.
Yeah. And in fact, you can, especially my husband Ben, it'd be like, how are they? How is so-and-so? What are they up to? How are the kids? Don't know. What did you talk about?
Yeah.
I don't know. This is where I need to do a lot more research about how much is biology and how much is culture. And I think it must overlap heavily. But yeah, definitely young lads like to do a thing. They like to do sport together, but they don't talk together. And we're all painfully aware of it. And I remember I was talking to my missus, I was talking to her about when I was younger. You were kind of the one emotion, I've heard other people say this, and it's like the one emotion you're allowed to feel as a young lad is anger. You're not allowed to cry, and you're not allowed to feel sad and be like, you're not even allowed to feel a bit pathetic. Sometimes we are just pathetic. Sometimes life gets too much. Yeah. Your life gets too much, and you just want to hug your wife or your partner or whatever. And
have a cry.
Yeah. And we're not allowed to feel that, and society will insult us for that.
Yeah.
Society will even insult us for I remember being called gay for liking a girl. Like society will, when you're a kid, being a guy,
Which isn't even a pejorative.
yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
insane that
Yeah.
doesn't
But it used to
logically,
be. It used to be
Yeah.
back in the day.
but just the logic of that expression doesn't make sense. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's like gay would have meant that you showed any sign of feelings.
Yeah.
It was like this word just
Any
to,
feminine energy,
yeah,
perhaps.
anything
Yeah.
like
Don't
that,
you
yeah.
think the most almost like crazy gaslighty smokescreen of all is that women are packaged up as being emotional, but the one emotion that men are allowed to have is anger.
Anger, it's all
which is
we're allowed,
massively
and we're
emotional.
rewarded for it.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting, and we're rewarded for it. So, like, say in school, I don't know. I remember literally, if like you and your mate were hanging out too much, you get called gay, and so that just tells a young lad that you're being rejected from the group. But I remember if I get in a fight and I win that fight, I'm the coolest kid in the playground for like at least a week.
Yeah.
And it was like that has a massive impact when you grow up. You're like, the only emotion that I'm allowed to express is anger.
Yeah.
And I think like, and so we do, like, you know, Jordan Peterson, he talks in this emotive way. So that's why a lot of people that follow him are like, he's not far right, he's not alt right or whatever, because he's emotional and shit, and he cries all the time. It is this interesting dichotomy of like,
But then how do you square that with Andrew Tate, who has not got that emotional side to him? Well, he is emotional. It's
Very
emotional.
shouty.
Very
Yeah,
shouty, very angry.
Very
I don't even
premenstrual.
I don't want to even describe him as alpha male because
Yeah,
he
you know.
Premenstrual.
yeah.
because that is not an alpha male. That is such, in my eyes, he's a very broken, weak, tragic person.
100%.
And
Yeah,
yet
it's
something is
pathetic.
happening where he is also being regarded as this kind of, I don't know, is it a show of strength?
But it's like, this is that thing of within the world that we live in, he is, and the culture and the way that capitalism works is he is rewarded. By being so deeply ruthless, society has rewarded him. He's made a load of money, and that is the system we live in, is that...
Patriarchy.
Yeah, and it's just capitalism as well. It's like, it's just the fact that you get a financial reward, you get all the things, you get the woman, you get the car, you get all the things that society tells you is important. You get that by being the worst possible type of person. He is like within the framework that this is like that sort of neoliberal attitude, that sort of Thatcher,
Trump.
Yeah, but like that Thatcher attitude of there's no alternative. Capitalism is everything, and he won. And so young lads are looking at him, and they're like, well, he's got money, he's got all the things that I'm told I should have to be happy, and yeah, in that world, where really, I think really, really deeply in all these young lads' hearts is they just want to be loved, and they just want to have a life where they work hard and they'll be rewarded for it, and maybe they get a house, and maybe they can have a family, and maybe they can have kids. That's all at the end of the day. I really think our needs are so little, but in a society where that is fucking stripped from us, like the idea of having a house is like insane for most average people. And so then you're just like in this world where you're hopeless, and then someone like him is like this ruthless character, and that's the world that we're being told to adapt to.
Yeah.
So it's almost logical in a sense. Like there's almost some logic to it in a fucked up way.